Hello, fellas and ladies. Time for the next film of TIFF, because God forbid I go to a film festival watch a normal amount of movies. I do have a sexy little article out now on Bite Size Breakdown, which speeds through every film I'm gonna review, and a bunch more I won't on this channel. And while you're there, read everything else, like everything, every single frickin' review. Next up is Rental Family, directed by Hikari, who most know she directed episodes of Beef, but also a lovely little film on Netflix called 37 Seconds, which comes highly recommended. And of course, this stars my king, my Oscar-winning king, Brendan Fraser. In Rental Family, Oscar-winning king Brendan Fraser stars as a down-on-his-luck actor in Tokyo who works for a service where he plays token white guys in people's lives. And the two that gets the most attention here is where he plays the American father of a little girl and an interviewer/friend of an elder actor. I will say, the trailer, I think now I can say, now that the movie's Oscar prospects have been gutted, I was a little scared of the trailer. The trailer looked fine, but also a little, like, overly sentimental, and I was afraid that this was going to be a little manipulative. Not the case. I see some people claim this movie's manipulative, and I'm a little shocked. I can say, as a spoiler, and this is not a bias thing because Brendan Fraser's in it, but I think I love this movie more than most. I really fell for the endearing nature of Rental Family. It's very unsentimental. It's never, like, it may think you're gonna cry in moments, but it's never, like, shaking your fucking collar going, oh, you're crying it? Are you sad? This is really sad. Are you in tears? Are you in fucking shambles? There's just a certain tone that Hikari implements in this movie that, like, maybe there's a bit of, like someone compared it to, like, Ted Lasso, and I don't think that's out of touch. I think there's truth to that. It has this very nice tone. It's not the most challenging thing. I can understand that. And it maybe, I would say, misses the big emotions it's shooting for. There was never a moment where I was devastated, per se. Or, like, very emotionally, like, cathartic. Even though it's there in regards, just not to a large degree that maybe it's shooting for. But I will say, I think the smallness gives this movie weight. I think that this movie has an interesting take on loneliness, which I found out is a really big epidemic in Tokyo where this movie takes place. It's got very sincereness in its themes. I like the unjudgmental approach to this otherwise silly idea of, you know, pretending to be someone in someone's life, someone getting hired to do that. In some cases, I see the necessity of it, actually. Not that I would do it, not that I would pay for the service, but it definitely has certain elements that I really loved in that it doesn't want you to just laugh at it. And part of the film's loveliness comes from Brendan Fraser giving a really lovely and lovable teddy bear performance. If you thought he was way too much in The Whale, this is definitely the answer to that, as he's much more subdued and toning it back. He's more just there to service the emotions and the writing and not going to a certain extreme. And for a lot of people, that's going to work, especially if you wanted something else. Like, that's not The Whale. But he is lovely here. I really fell for this character and his charm and what Brendan Fraser brought to him. I think he's one of my favorite performances of the year. The entire ensemble really worked. I really loved everyone in this cast. They're all, you know, struggling with some form of loneliness, and all in different degrees in certain ways that they're struggling. Mari Yamamoto is a standout for sure. She's a really nice standout. Akira Imoto is going to be a lot of people's standout. He does have a lot of the moments that you remember because he's just so lovable and fun and emotionally satisfying. There's one scene in particular where I think if anyone's gonna cry, I think that's the scene, and it's all because of him. Takahiro Hira, initially I was like, this guy's kind of nothing. He's kind of just there to be, like, kind of cold, but there's a certain thing that happens in the movie with him that I was like, oh wow, this is great. I love this movie now. We also have a fantastic child performance from Shannon Mohina Gorman. I thought she was great as for a kid. When I say this movie's unbaity, because I think this movie's a crowd pleaser for sure, but I think when I say the phrase it's a crowd pleaser, I also think this movie is smart. There's a certain thing that Brendan Fraser, we find out he does early on, that I was like, oh, what is this movie? And that's why when I see people calling it manipulative, I go, I think you want it to be manipulative. I think it's because the movie maybe wants you to feel certain emotions, but I think that's not all this is. And I think it's not getting the credit for that. I'm not entirely sure why. I also don't think this movie is directionally flat. I don't think this movie has a distinct, like, vision to it, per se, but I think the cinematography from Takuro Ishizaka is very like crisp. It's got an interesting texture to it that feels so alive. It doesn't just feel like a TV movie. I also really loved the score from John Z and Alex Summers. That was definitely a standout and like really like a memorable part of this movie. I think you're gonna go into this movie hoping for a nice smile, a nice laugh. This movie does make me laugh a lot, especially thanks to Brendan Fraser, who I mean this when I say he's truly lovely in this movie. I can also see that this movie isn't particularly like groundbreaking. I get that. It's not doing much to really change the medium. It's just a very sweet story. Like, sure, you're gonna go in with the same mentality going out. I don't think it's gonna change us. I don't think if you're feeling lonely, it's gonna cure it. But I also think that you got these very interesting characters, and this one at the center of it, played by Brendan Fraser, who just is so lovable and so endearing, that you have this movie that becomes lovable and endearing in ways that feel authentic. And for that, I think Randall Family deserves an audience that I really hope it gets, but unfortunately I fear that will only come when it like gets on Disney Plus. Rental Family is more than just some nice and cozy feel-good movie. It actually feels very sincere in its approach to loneliness and its multifaceted, broken characters. And while you will get the feels, that's maybe not the main objective of this film, and it's always nice to see a lovable Brendan Fraser on your screen just killing it. And I'll give Rental Family 8 Brendan Fraser winning the Oscars out of 10. I really hope this movie finds an audience. It's really lovely. Go check it out. Maybe I like it more than most, but hey, there's still something there for everyone. That's all I got for you today. Like, subscribe, and share. Get the fuck out!